Hi, Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100, and we are sitting down with a featured interview with Alex Lindus, the CEO of ContractorFlow. Alex, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming.
Hey, you know what? I can't think of a better reason to come back to, where are we? Baldwin, Wisconsin, right?
Yes, sir.
The home of ContractorFlow.
You know it.
So my first question, I'm curious, because you were born into this business, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day. And I believe you're working with like your entire family at some point. What was the hardest challenge?
Still working with them.
What was the biggest challenge about building a business with your family? And this is on the Lindus,
we get this question a lot.
Lindus construction side first.
Yeah. I mean, we always get that question is how can you guys be so successful working with your family? Because apparently it's really hard for a lot of people. And I always look at it like, you can't work with your family, but it doesn't work without them. And that's something, it's one thing to work for your parents, where no matter how good you do it, it's never good enough and it can always get better. So that was the good dad part we had. He's a great dad, but he was hard on us to make sure we were successful. And then, me, Adam, and Andy, I know our biggest thing for success is we wear our emotions on our sleeves, right? And I think it's really hard for people who don't have that tight of relationship to tell you that your idea is dumb, and I'm against it. Where we have no problem with that, telling each other that you're an idiot and let it all out there. Instead of what it realizes when you're butting heads like that, you see how tight we are together, right? The minute we stop communicating is when we separate, and that's the hardest thing where you start having animosity towards each other.
You don't know how the other one feels.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It's like you lose an arm essentially.
So we get to a solution a lot faster by having these discussions, right? And yeah, it is difficult sometimes. It creates a hostile work environment for our employees. But at the end of the day,
or entertaining. Yeah. I mean, you got to
depends on what personality you are. But so that would. There's pros and cons to it all, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't change anything. We couldn't be where we are without the three of us. We understand what lane we're each into. We don't step on each other's toes. We each kind of have our own piece, which allowed us to really, captain each lane that we're in. So we all just had our own niche in the business. We just drove it.
Well, it worked, right? Yeah. Because you grew when you guys came into the business around 2011, collectively.
Yeah, running all the day-to-day stuff in 2011, yep.
Right, and you really mastered the business from the ground up, right? And then taking over the business and moving into the leadership roles and running the company, obviously. You've had a ton of success. But particular, I want to talk to you about ContractorFlow, because that's now what you've been tasked or asked or volunteered or you lost the bet. I don't know what it was. But it's now your responsibility to really grow the ContractorFlow brand across the country. What was the moment, if you were to go back, was there a moment, I should say, where y'all said, we're going to build our own CRM?
It was an exact moment, actually.
Let's hear it.
I was actually sitting in that office right there, and we were running on a CRM at the time, and I had 15 sales guys. I was VP of sales, and I had 1,792 no appointment results in the last 6 months. And I think it was approaching fall time, and I was just trying to run all the numbers, right? And no appointment results is basically I'm giving guys leads, and they're going out, and I don't know what's happened with them. Okay. No clue. Like it got to a point where it become unsalvageable to figure out, did they even give a bid to these homeowners? Did they even meet them, right? And with no appointment results, I can't run any data or any analytics whatsoever. And it was like, it's 2013, there's got to be a better way. And I literally started searching CRMs and did 7 different interviews with all sorts of, specifically for contractors. And then, where we ended up with Salesforce is it took us probably, 4 months of searching around. And then finally settled in. And when I realized with Salesforce was that it's the only one that allowed us to customize the way we do our systems here, right? The big part of why we got so successful is our systems that we put in place, right? And when you have a working system, you can repeat it and train on it. So it's scalable. And now that we have these systems, there wasn't technology out there that we could adopt our strategies and systems that we have. Salesforce allowed us to do that, right? And it was tough at first because it was super expensive. So the hardest part really was just to try to get buy-in from my brothers, because they're just like, how much is this? You're ridiculous, right? And at the end of the day, it, setting aside the cost of it, looking at the future of where we wanted to go and what we want to do with the technology, it was really the only platform that would allow us to do it. Now, the cost and the time that it's taken to get to where we are now in C-Flow, right, that's 2013. So 10 years later, fast forward, and here we are with a completely automated internal infrastructure at Lindus, and taking that and rebuilding it to offer customers, our competitors or colleagues in the industry, right, to do that same thing we did, to grow at an incredible rate while adding points to the bottom line with the same internal staff, which is pretty remarkable, I think. From 2013 at $14 million, go until 2023 at $51 million. And the office staff you see here is the same amount of office staff we've had. That was one thing that became a big challenge for growth. In fact, I remember in like 2012, 2011, we were taking over the day-to-day, sitting with our banker, and we looked at going to 20 million. And to jump that 6 million based on all the work we had to do to get to where we were right there, it seemed impossible. Yeah, to do with those old systems. You had to hire, twice the amount of office staff to run it all and make it all work.
And then you have to say, does it even make sense to make that jump, or do I just stay here and try to be a little bit more profitable? Do I curb my goals and my ambition? Yeah. And I think that's what so many contractors across the country did. We actually did that when we were running our business. Mm-hmm. The hardest jump was to go from 5 million to 7 million. It was so difficult because we had to relinquish a lot of responsibility and trust people and hire people. Mm-hmm. And then from 7 to 10, there was another big jump. And it was just so much pain with that. You had to go in debt basically to hire the team, to dress for the job, to get to the next level. And then even then it's a gamble,
hard.
Right?
It's a hard decision to take that jump to that next level. And that's where, when we adopted this at the level we were at, we were already working on our business, right? There was a lot of companies that are my customers now. They're still working for their business, and they're in that transition to go from working for their business, as in selling and ordering materials and doing that bit, right, to now focusing on growing their business, which is employees relationships and partner relationships and all the stuff that goes into the growth of a business, right? It's hard to grow your business when you're working for it.
Yeah, it really is. What was the largest challenge recently, like in the last year, where it really, you were wanting to push ContractorFlow over the edge, right? Like say, okay, this is what is going to make it this premium product. What is that trait, or what happened, and talk to us about how your persistence is able to then produce this product that we've been able to demo and see several times over the last year, and we've been so impressed. How did you get there? What was that pivotal piece?
Taking the jump from building this for Lindus and ourselves and making it work and growing Lindus. The real piece came when we started to develop our AI analytics inside of Lindus Construction, right? We had all this reporting, all these numbers, all this data, and we had no idea how to read it. So new problem, right? We got the data, we captured it. What the hell does it mean? How do we read it? So we started dabbling in this AI, and we'd hired a company to come in, and we had no idea at the time what we were doing, and still don't a little bit, right? But figuring out as we go. But the way we're capturing data is an extremely healthy data capture. And what I mean by that is the data that's there, it's constant variables, right? So this happens all the time, every time. And that's just because we wanted to know, right? We're always factor conjecture, right? Did this happen? So now we started tracking it, right? Like you have to enter this in every time or you can't move on, type of thing. So with building that model over the last decade, once people got in there and were able to see it, we were hitting, so they have the data health app, right? And we were hitting higher than anybody else in Salesforce. Out of all of the thousands and millions of people that are in there, we had a higher data model that could be performed with AI. So we were pulling off some stuff that even Target or Medtronics, Boston Scientific, we did a demo for. And he's like, the CFO looks at me and goes, why in the heck would a little construction company in Baldwin, Wisconsin want to know those analytics? It's like, well, how do you make decisions without knowing your numbers? And we were so numbers driven, and not just numbers, clean, healthy numbers, right? Once we figured that out and unleashed our bots inside of our organization, it was endless scalability.
Well, do you think that the reason you were able to have such tremendous success is because you are Lindus Construction as much as you are ContractorFlow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like there isn't anything about the home improvement industry that between you and your two brothers, you don't know.
No.
So do you think that that's, how much of a role does that play in the success of ContractorFlow in the adoption and the attention to AI?
Well, the best part about it is we knew it was going to work, right? We know ContractorFlow was going to work because we've already done it. We're the first beta company. We've done all the testing. We know that it works. It's just getting other people to see that light, right? And to get in there and feel it. It takes time. It's not an easy, I would say it's not an easy CRM, right? It is difficult. But the end result is the ability to endlessly scale. Right. While you're making money, making more money. Because like, you know, we can grow, anyone can grow if you invest in people and you spend a lot of money to get there, right? With this, it's an ability to scale your business without adding overhead. And that's where, I mean, I really guess.
And it's so powerful. We've looked at it so many different times, and it's a secret, right? Like right now, nobody is gonna know what ContractorFlow is, you know, until they really take a look at it, because it's just been so organic, you know, but yet it's not a new company, right? The product's out there, you have a bunch of clients, it's not like it's a brand new thing. But the key differentiator here is that you are rolling out updates to your clients after testing it in a major top 5 home remodeling company in Lindus. Yeah. That is where things are being arguably quote unquote tested, but they're also being discovered there. So it's built with the intention of truly needing something and wanting something and helping achieve the goals that are really in the market, not just from some, you know, ivory desk at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we have a unique situation with C-Flow, right? Is, you know, our tagline, right? Built by contractors for contractors. Yeah. And it's not just built by us, it's tested and proven with Lindus Construction.
Well, you're missing a big word. I got to stop you on that because it's used by contractors.
Yeah.
That built the CRM, right? So it's used and perfected there, then rolled out. Yeah. Because the Lindus name is your name, right? Yeah. It's the family's name. You're not going to put your tagline on it or your stamp of approval on something until it reflects the quality that you demand.
Yeah, and it's always evolving too, right? I mean, we're constantly getting better. We're you know, as you will see with Andy's, is we're always changing and adopting new technologies and new way to do it, right? I feel like we're kind of on the forefront of a lot of this tech. We've been very open to technology. In fact, there's a letter that my mom had written for my father on a typewriter, and it was 1989, and it was Hello Lindus Construction and team. We want you all to be prepared for this new technology that we're introducing to the company, and it'll be a change. There will be issues. We will get through it, and we'll all work together. If you have any problems, please be sure to talk to us. And it's something called the computer. It's 1989 when this type of stuff out. So, we get it a little bit from my mom and dad.
Yeah.
A lot of my mom's side is always looking on ways to improve. So if that's the mindset you have, I think we'll always end up finding ways to do things better and using technology to do those things.
I love it. Well, that concludes the first part of our interview. I want to thank you for your time, the information. It's been awesome. Stay tuned for part 2 of our interview with Alex Lindus, the CEO of ContractorFlow. We're going to talk about the features and benefits of ContractorFlow in our next segment. As always, power up.